our American friends, every time they decide to pick a fight with someone, they try to create a demonized image of the people they want to fight. We will not accept any accusation that we don't respect human rights in Brazil. And I told President Trump if what happened at the Capitol had happened in Brazil, he would be on trial here too. And we don't want conflict. I don't want conflict with Uruguay or with Venezuela, let alone with the United States. Now, the only thing we need to demand is that our sovereignty is untouchable. Before talking about human rights in Brazil, you have to look at what's happening in the country that's accusing Brazil. We will keep selling the things that Brazil, if the United States doesn't want to buy, we'll look for another country. We want to grow more. We want to sell more and buy more. We want to learn more and teach more. That's how we're going to look for our own alternatives so that the United States learns that democracy, commercial respect, and multilateralism matter to us and should matter to them too. My team isn't afraid to fight. They're not afraid to fight, okay? If we need to fight, we'll fight.
Brazil's government unveiled on August 13 a long-awaited aid package for companies hurt by steep tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump on many goods from that country. The South American nation will extend a program that returns part of the exported value to all companies that ship to the United States. The plan also includes government purchases of products that would initially be exported to the United States.
Besides congratulating my colleague Alcon and Haddad and the teams who worked on this, Gleisi, Favaro, and other ministers, Rui Costa, for presenting this proposal, it's important to say that we can't let ourselves get scared, nervous, or overly excited when there's a crisis. A crisis exists so that we can create new things. Humanity has created great things that have saved us in times of crisis. In this case, what's unpleasant is that the justified reasons to impose sanctions on Brazil simply don't exist. When it comes to trade, for example, it's unacceptable for someone to claim they have a debt with Brazil when in the last 15 years their surplus was $410 billion. If you include goods and services, that's no small thing. The second thing is that here in Brazil, we have an autonomous judiciary, which is guaranteed by our 1988 Constitution, and the executive branch, you know, the National Congress. We haven't had any incidents regarding the trial that's happening in the Supreme Court. And no one is disrespecting human rights rules the way they're trying to present to the world. Because our American friends, every time they decide to pick a fight with someone, they try to create a demonized image of the people they want to fight. That's how it is with Latin America. That's how it is with the Arab world. That's how it is with with the Russians. That's how it is with Asian countries. And Brazil really had no reason to be labeled like that, and we will not accept any accusation that we don't respect human rights in Brazil, and that our trial and that the judgment is being carried out arbitrarily. In fact, what we're doing is exactly what only happens in a democratic country, judging someone based on collected evidence, on witnesses, and with full right to the presumption of innocence. This is democracy taken to the highest level, something I didn't have when I was judged. And I didn't complain. And what's even more serious is that these same people who are now being judged, who tried to stage a coup in 2008, who invaded the federal police headquarters on the day of my inauguration, on the day I received my diploma, who placed a trip bomb, you know, near the airport. These people who camped out in front of the barracks with the approval of some are being judged, not because of accusations from the opposition. I haven't seen any accusations from you against anyone, Columba. I haven't seen any from you, Hugo Mata. I haven't seen any accusations. They're being judged based on the plea bargains and testimonies given by people who took part in the attempted coup. And I told President Trump if what happened at the Capitol had happened in Brazil, he would be on trial here too. Because here, after our 1988 Constitution, we might find some flaws, but the truth is that justice in this country has to be for everyone, for Brazilians and for foreign residents in Brazil, for Brazilian companies here and for foreign companies based in the United States. It couldn't be any other way. Now, what's being thrown away is a relationship of 201 years of history. Look, we even let the 1964 coup slide. We don't even remember what the role of the American embassy was here in Brazil. We don't remember what the role of the United States warships in our waters was. All of that. You know, we haven't forgotten. But we don't take it into account anymore because we are people of peace. We are people of peace, and in this time of crisis, my dear Albin, here's some good news. I was just informed by Favaro that right as I'm stepping up to the podium, we are closing our 400th deal in 2.5 years, selling beef and beef offal to the Philippines. And that's how it will be. We will keep going through Alcon, through Haddad, through Morrow, through Favaro, through all the ministers whose departments have ties with the United States. We will keep insisting on negotiations because we like to negotiate. And we don't want conflict. I don't want conflict with Uruguay or with Venezuela, let alone with the United States. Now, the only thing we need to demand is that our sovereignty is untouchable. No one should meddle in the things we have to do. Talking about human rights in Brazil was important in other times. But now, before talking about human rights in Brazil, you have to look at what's happening in the country that's accusing Brazil. And very calmly, we will keep moving forward. I want to say to the bank, to the business owners, to the workers, we will do everything within our power to minimize the problem that was caused to us. We will do whatever is within our reach. But the truth is, it's not possible to imagine that the government will replace, our commercial partners. And we will have to look for other partners. As for me, I'm a salesman of anything. I called Sigipin this week, and one of the things I mentioned was chicken feet. I didn't actually say chicken feet because I said chicken meat, but I know it's chicken feet. Apex is here. Seabree is here. We will keep selling the things that Brazil, if the United States doesn't want to buy, we'll look for another country. Get the bank ready. I'm going to Avian, in October to sell Brazilian products there. Get ready, because in January I've already scheduled with India. We're going to hold a big event where I want to take at least about 500 Brazilian business people to India, because it's a very big, very important country, and it has a lot to offer Brazilian industry, especially in the areas of pharmaceuticals, artificial intelligence, space, and defense. We have a lot to learn from India. So instead of crying over what we've lost, let's focus on finding new opportunities elsewhere. The world is big, and it's eager to do business with Brazil. Everyone knows we're good people. Everyone knows that we don't want to fight with anyone, that we're willing to make concessions, but we didn't deserve this. And what's really serious is that it wasn't just with us. It happened to many others. A lot of people said, but India is very pro-American. They slapped a 50% tariff on India. Well, what causes this? I can tell you it's not about trade. I can tell you there's no commercial reason behind this. I think behind all this, there's a very strong need to destroy something called multilateralism, which is what allowed the world to have more balanced trade, something more harmonious, done through the WTO, which started to lose value when the United States pulled out of negotiations in 2008 because of Obama's election. So we're in a debate that's not economic, folks. It's a political debate. It's a political debate with an ideological slant. The reason why the American president announces he's going to punish Brazil because of two presidents, if he knew the real story, he'd actually be congratulating the Brazilian Supreme Court for judging someone who tried to mess up Brazilian democracy. And the one telling you this is the guy who lost the most presidential elections in this country. I had just lost. I went back home. I didn't go around cursing anyone. I didn't go around doubting the voting machines. So, folks, we need to be clear about what's at stake here. My negotiation team is right here, top tier. Neither Real Madrid, nor Barcelona, nor Paris Saint-Germain comes close to my negotiation team. Now, we need to see some reciprocity from the other side, because we're not seeing any reciprocity. See how we are as negotiators. We don't want, at first, to do anything that would justify, making our relationship worse. Right now, we're trying to bring the relationship closer, looking for our partner. I've already spoken with India. I've already spoken with China. I've already spoken with Russia. I'm going to speak with South Africa. I'm going to speak with France. I'm going to speak with Germany. I'm going to talk to everyone. Given what's happening in the world and among the BRICS, we're going to have a teleconference that's being arranged so we can discuss within the BRICS what we can do to improve our relationship among all the countries that have been affected. Because it's important to remember, soon someone will start saying, no, Brazil is being punished because of the BRICS. It's important to remember that this BRICS member that scares them is simply a country with which Brazil has a trade balance of $160 billion, double what we have with the United States. And we want to grow more. We want to sell more and buy more. We want to learn more and teach more. That's how this country is going to transform itself into a great nation. That's how we're going to look for our own alternatives so that the United States learns that democracy, commercial respect, and multilateralism matter to us and should matter to them too. This bet the American government is making might not work out for them. It might not work. Because yesterday I saw in the newspaper they gave me that a kilo of sirloin steak in the United States costs $150. I don't know what kind of meat that is, but the meat price list was right there. And here in Brazil, we're going to keep surprising a lot of people because we're going to keep improving our production, whether it's corn, soybeans, chicken, beans, rice, or coffee. We're going to keep improving production. No one ever said again, after we came into office, people never again said that industrial production was ending, that Brazilian industry was finished. In other words, the industrial GDP grew by 3.8%. That's $547 million in credit for the new Brazil industry. This is going to keep happening. If South Americans don't want to buy, we'll sell to others. If someone else wants to buy, we'll sell to our own domestic market. We have a powerful domestic market. What we need is to tap into our potential. I keep thinking, Haddad, that part of the fruit we export to the United States, the Rio market, the Minas market, the Gaucho market, the Sao Paulo market, the Brazilian market as a whole, is fully available to buy and eat these fruits. What's the problem? If we don't have a domestic market, we'll look for another market. I have no problem walking around with a box of grapes on my head, a box of mangoes, a box of pineapples. The only thing I won't carry is a box of jackfruit, because that's just too heavy. But I did go around with a green car for about 2 years in Europe, showing that we were going to produce a green car. You know, so if you want to negotiate ethanol, we will negotiate. If you want to negotiate ethanol, don't make it a problem, because we're willing to negotiate. We produce more and better than they do, and we want to negotiate. Now, the ones who don't want to negotiate are them. They're the ones making empty threats. My tough guys are right here. Just look at Altman's face. He was even called Pancho Sancho over there. I don't know why. Sancho Panza. They bullied you, and you should sue the guy who bullied you. And look at Haddad, how hurt he is. Life just smiling at him. Look at Gleisi Hoffman. Look at Mauro Vieira. This is my team of tough guys, ready to fight. This team only knows how to negotiate. But also, my team isn't afraid to fight. They're not afraid to fight, okay? If we need to fight, we'll fight. But before fighting, we want to negotiate. We want to sell and buy from the United States and the rest of the world. That's why Altman, Haddad, Gleisi, Mauro, congratulations on what you've done so far, and keep selling. Keep selling, because Brazil needs to sell. And I'm proud that in just 2.5 years, we've opened 400 new markets. And I'm even prouder that in just 2.5 years, we've once again ended hunger in Brazil. That's something to be proud of, a government that works. My dear Davi, my dear Hugo Mata, fellow representatives, senators, and congresswomen, the ball is in your court. The faster you vote, the sooner those who have been harmed will benefit. And we'll also be giving the world a way out, because many countries are facing the same difficulties as Brazil. So we're showing them this is how it's done. And if there's more to do, well, we'll do it. If there's more to do, we'll do it for the workers. Because in this country, we've learned no one lets go of anyone's hand.